Hey, folks, and welcome to the Daily Ratings Podcast. It's a show where each week we're going to be sitting down with Vincent Daly to get his thoughts on the latest movies he's been watching, both older films and new releases. And don't worry, there's no spoilers. Vince will give a brief review of the movie, share some thoughts, and of course, then rate the film. The daily ratings are always fair, honest, and most importantly, they're consistent. On today's show, Vince will be rating and reviewing. We are covering the Running Man's today, folks. So we are jumping back to 1987 for the OG Running Man that was directed by Paul Michael Glaser, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then we have the newly released, now in theaters, The Running Man. This one directed by Edgar Wright. And we might also have a surprise little, maybe a two shoes on Predator Badlands. We'll see. I did stop by the movie theater for that one. But regardless, let's get Vincent Daly in the room, hear what he has to say about these films. So stay tuned and enjoy the show. Mr. Vincent Daly, how are we doing across the table, my friend?
Thomas, how's it going?
It's going okay for me. How was, I don't know, you went for a run this weekend?
the Running Men. Both of the Running Mans. Honestly, pretty horrible week, honestly.
Wow.
yeah, pretty terrible. I have no bones about pointing to the first Running Man already being rated on the site. It was not a good score.
Yes, it was rated before. Yes, it was.
I've never really liked that movie. I don't know. I had maybe some hope for Edgar Wright adapting this, breathing some life, some energy into like an old 80s movie and really making it his own. But New Running Man, not good.
Yeah, so
not good.
So Edgar wanted to, I think he read the book when he was like 10 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he's been wanting to adapt this forever. And then I was listening to an interview with him where 15 years ago he kind of had a brief moment to maybe even buy the rights out because he was even thinking about doing it back then. Mm-hmm. But a true passion project.
Yeah.
And this one apparently follows the book way more closely than the first one.
Yeah, the first one is definitely disappointing for the changes that they make to the concept and the lethality of the Running Man.
They kind of just take the idea of the Running Man being a game show and then run with it. Right? I did not watch that one.
Yeah,
I did watch
for the best.
I watched the new one, and so at least we get a different kind of. It's not a beat for beat remake of the films. Mm-hmm. And then Edgar really cared about the story, so he wanted to make it more closer to the book. Although he still changes things from what the actual book is as well.
Yeah, I think the thing that stung the most was watching that original and remembering everything I hated about it, but I specifically watched it after seeing the new one, spotting some things in that original, as bad as the movie is, that I was like, wow, this kind of is a little tighter. This is a little more, a little layered better in this old crappy 80s movie than our
Well, it's
new
much
one.
shorter, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The original was an hour and 41 minutes, and then the new one is 2 hours and 13 minutes.
Yeah,
and
you feel
that's a drastic difference.
Yeah, you feel it too.
There's one reason why I kind of wanted to check out the original. Mm-hmm. Could you guess? Do you have any idea of what would make Tom be? What would be the one thing that makes him interested in this movie?
Oh, it's got to be Dawson.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, he's the reason you watch the movie.
Okay, gotcha. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Dawson is great in it.
Richard, and we're talking about Richard Dawson, folks.
Yeah. Of course, from countless game shows, most notably, I would say Family Feud.
Yeah, he started Family Feud.
I think it's literally over 2,000 episodes of Family Feud. From the 70s.
Was he in that
80s.
much?
Oh yeah.
I mean, he was the OG guy.
Yeah.
He was on Match Game all the time.
Yeah. Also, Running Man is his last credit. I don't know if he stopped working or if he.
I think he might have passed away at that point then.
Yeah. But absolutely. I mean, yeah, in ways, I was watching and I was like, man, I wish it was packaged in a better movie because I feel like he really is a gem.
He's kind of got the juice.
Yeah.
I went on YouTube and watched all his scenes.
Yeah, there you go. That's actually better as the recommendation.
Okay, so, but you know what? Before we get to the Running Man. So I took it upon, I don't know what got into me. For some reason, I was feeling this Predator Badlands.
Right.
And I was looking up reviews of it. Uh-huh. And I just said, on Thursday, I saw The Running Man. Uh-huh. And then on Friday, I said, you know what, maybe screw it. I'm going to go see it. And I forget what theater I went to go see it in. And I said, let's do it. I'm going to go see Predator Badlands for the hope that, because you watch the trailer, and I'm not a Predator guy.
Sure.
I can enjoy the movies, what I've seen. I haven't seen most of them.
Sure.
And it doesn't have...
You do secretly appreciate the world of Alien versus Predator.
I'm not
the
gonna
Weyland-Yutani universe.
I am in it more than I ever thought I would be. I went to Alien vs. Predator in theaters.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched the show, although I actually didn't finish the season 1 even.
Okay, interesting.
It kind of started to go with the cliff.
I did, not to derail us, but I did hear that the last episode of that, for some reason, people were very upset with it. So maybe jumping off was the good call.
Yeah, I still feel like at some point I just need to just binge the last few episodes and just call heads or tails on it. So I guess you could say I kind of had more interest in Alien than Predator. You know what I mean? But still, I walked into Alien Romulus last year not expecting much. And
you loved it.
Yeah, love, sure. I mean, I think I gave it 2 shoes. Very positive 2 shoes.
Yeah.
No laces. So I said, okay, I'm going to go to this, and then whatever. I'll give it, give my 2 cents, my 2 shoes on it.
Yep.
I would say when you watch the trailer, you think you exactly know what the film is and what it's going to be. There's a little bit more. There's a nice little nugget of something different in there that they're trying to do, which is nice to see that some care and consideration was taken into it. The effects aren't all terrible, because I think some of the effects look shoddy in the trailer.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I think it's a serviceable... second-tier Predator movie. And I would say if you are a relative fan of the Predators and you've seen all of them, or like you're a relative fan, spending the money for a movie ticket to go see it one night would be worth it. If you're not, if you're just kind of interested in it somewhat, you can wait for streaming. That's how I put it.
Yeah.
And this Dan Trachtenberg guy who did Prey, which you were happily or surprisingly delighted by.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially it being just a Hulu project. And then he got the green light and he did an animated series for Hulu.
I think Killers of Killers.
Killers of Killers.
Yep.
Or Killer of Killers. I think that's a movie, not a show. And then he's doing this one. And I think because this is the most successful opening weekend for the franchise, it'll continue with this guy. And he's very actively in it. Like, he wants to do it.
Yeah.
And you had said that he actually had a trilogy in mind, correct?
Yeah. Again, we didn't really cover this on the podcast, so I didn't do a lot of research, but I heard an interview with Trachtenberg that the idea for Prey, the idea for Killers of Killers, and the idea for Badlands all was in a same batch of like ideas he threw out in elevator pitches for Predator, and then there was one more.
Okay, so I would not be surprised if we get that.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, they're not that expensive to make. And then it's more, these are standalone films, which maybe the studio really likes. And it seems like he gets the Predators stuff down where I'm listening to some podcasts where they were fans of Predator, like we got Predator fans. So I was very curious to see what they had to say about that, of the film. And he gets a lot of respect, but I think people like the idea of, it's almost like what is it? It's like Die Hard in this with the Predator. It's like put Predator in Jurassic Park, basically. Put Predator in with Native Americans. Put Predator in here.
Yep.
And for this third film, we'll kind of see where's Predator going to go next, basically.
Yeah.
Because you could do whatever you want.
Yeah, and a lot of that stuff has been covered in like the comic book space, where Alien and Predator have. I mean, like, I don't know how canon they are to like the overall story, but like we've had like a cowboy Predator and shit like that.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I'm curious what would come out of the woodworks, but I am glad that Trachtenberg not only got a theater release or a theatrical release after 2 streaming hits. Yes. I don't know how much of a hit Killers was, but
they're liked. I mean, it's animation.
Yeah.
So it only goes so far, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was glad to hear that this was like any bit of a hit, because that's clearly he's doing something right with it.
He
franchise,
cares too, which is nice.
Yeah, has really like floundered. I mean, go back to our Predator episode, folks. I mean,
there
are a lot of bad movies in there, But yeah, I that's great to hear that you at least had a good time with it.
It's under 2 hours.
Yeah. So, not that I honestly cared too much, but a lot of people were enraged over CGI Predator instead of being any kind of practical effects. And I feel like we've already flirted the line with that in like the last 3 releases of Predator. But was it bad? Was it like...
I mean, some of it you can tell it's CGI, but there are some real effects.
A
lot of it is in man in suit. And we were even talking about this with Del Toro last week. I think the body is a lot of man in suit. Face is then CGI.
Oh, okay.
It's what it looked like to me, because I'm still looking at like the skin on his legs, and to me, it's like I'm just seeing a dude right now. That's what it looked like to me.
Right.
I thought because they're in a completely different world and it's Jurassic Park-y, not Jurassic Park. I should just say, I don't know, dinosaur era.
Yeah.
I thought the CGI was going to be a little bit even more worse, more gaudy, but it does okay.
Okay.
Again, it wasn't on Alien Romulus surprise for me. And I wasn't walking out like I love this.
Yeah, but it was a good theater watch.
If you're a franchise guy for it, go.
Interesting. Okay, well, I'll have to check it out.
That's right. Otherwise than that, it probably should be coming out on Hulu within probably 3 months or something like that.
Sure.
So, okay. So that's that. That's my Predator Badlands 2 shoes, and I'm not going to give it a 2 shoes. And
yeah, I was going to say, if you wanted to give it a 2 shoes, I guess we could mark that on the site just without a score.
Yeah, it kind of would be.
Yeah,
because we've never even done this before where I watch a film and I give it But no, we'll say that for another time.
I'm
special.
fine with it, yeah.
I'm not going to put it on the site, no.
All right.
Okay, so let's jump to 1987. Do you have any opening notes, by the way? Pretty good.
No. Definitely all of what I have to say is rolled up into these 2 reviews. And there's a lot of cross-pollination because it is truly the same story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I have a lot of complicated feelings, mostly how these 2 movies are inverses of each other. Like, what really doesn't work in the original works in the new one. And what doesn't work in the new one, oddly, was like effortless in the original. So
that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it's much shorter, still rated R, so respecting some gore and stuff. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger during his absolute peak period for him.
Yeah.
1987 is just like Arnie is the guy.
I mean, speaking of Predator, he released it the same year.
Yeah,
87 is Predator and Running Man for Arnie. I mean, like that is.
This is his year.
Dynamite year, you know?
It's crazy how good he is in the 80s and early 90s. Directed by Paul Michael Glaser. We don't really have a relationship with this guy. Still directs some TV stuff now, but...
I got one joke for him.
Okay, gotcha. Just set it up and get into the OG Running Man.
Well, let's start with at least flashing back to a very early episode of the podcast where we covered a movie called Soylent Green, a dystopian sci-fi that took place in the year 2022. Now, a personal goal of mine outside of even the podcast is just keeping up with any near-future sci-fi that overlaps with the current year. And while this movie does state that it takes place in 2017, the original book story takes place in 2025, making it our next entry in the unofficial series, kind of keeping up appearances with science fiction.
Yeah.
The next on that list is also Children of Men, taking place in 2027, which is a lot better than what we've had to. I mean, even if you don't like Children of Men, but I mean, it's kind of a big movie to have. I can't
wait to cover that again.
Yeah.
I watched it when it first came out.
Really?
I've touched it since.
Interesting.
But it's like it's a well respected film.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's also one of those things of just like, where did Clive Owen go? Where's Clive Owen been?
So true. Yeah, it's that in Sin City, and then it's just like, okay, where is he now?
Well, he was in the Nick, but then it's like, what? He was on this weird AMC Plus show that they were trying to push out or something. By the way, our director, he stopped directing in 2008. It looks like he might have passed away or something like that. He's still not he's not working anymore.
Yeah, and probably for the best. But I've had the original Running Man reviewed on the website for a while, and my thoughts on this movie really have not changed. It's one of the weakest of the 80s blockbusters you could ask for, with laughable action in the golden age of action. It's one of the weakest of Arnold Schwarzenegger's monumental acting runs from roughly 84 to 97, who gets... I mean, just so many one-liners in this film. You'd watch for Dawson. Watch also just for like a drinking game of how many one-liners Arnie gets in this. This must be a non-negotiable in his contract at this time, because he gets back-to-back one-liners multiple times in the film. They're not even related. He's just like
it totally
quit
makes
machine.
Sense. Yeah.
But surprisingly, I would say, like I introduced both of these films, it serves as a total inverse of our new remake this week, in a kind of a frustrating the plot of both movies failing to adapt this story in a satisfying way. Both of these movies divert from that original Stephen King story, and I feel like are weaker for it, even though I don't really have that much attachment to this original Stephen King story.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so... but from the director of Shazam and Starsky and Hutch, I kid you not, that's really all he has going for him. And like I said, as well as being based off of the Stephen King...
Kazam, by the way, Kazam.
Oh, is
not
it?
Shazam.
Oh, it's Kazam.
Kazam.
Man.
From 1996.
This is the one with Shaq.
This one with Shaq. Yeah. So maybe we got to give the guy some respect.
That's also like
really funny.
The movie people point to when they think, what is it? The Mandela effect of just like people remember that movie differently.
Yes, yeah. But yes, Kazam.
And again, based off of the Stephen King novel of the same name, comes The Running Man, a dystopian thriller where a psychotic TV game show becomes a death trap for those that rebel against the system. I also think this is definitely a high score year for Stephen King on the podcast. We had a whole episode.
It's crazy.
We had, Long Walk was part of the episode. We had Life of Chuck. We now have this. It's our second Richard Dawson. His pen name, his pseudonym.
Not Richard Dawson. That's a character. That's the actor. You're right. But whatever his name was.
Richard Bachman.
There you go.
There we go.
Is it that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Long Walk was a Bachman story, and this is a Bachman story as well. So.
Oh, and then Misery we covered.
Yeah, right. We had the whole episode.
Oh, that was the episode.
Yeah.
I think there was some at the beginning of the year that were also Stephen King novels.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's a high score.
It's been a lot.
I don't think King's being overthrown this year. We follow Ben Richards, a principled man that is thrown into a world of spin when he disobeys orders and soon finds himself on the bad side of a system he can't get out of. Managing to get out of jail with his two comrades, as well as revealing the truth to a romantic interest on the run, Ben gets a target painted on his back by being a prime physical candidate for a game show no one wants to be on. Soon he is plucked to be on The Running Man, a modern gladiatorial spectacle to keep the masses sedated with TV entertainment, as well as being a dumpster for any problems the state deems fit. But they haven't had a contestant like this before, and if the game is survival to the fittest, no one is more fit than Arnie to tackle the challenge. It really is ridiculous how much Arnold Schwarzenegger is just like almost non-explained of just like why he is able to solve every problem in this movie just by being a monster, like just by being a physical machine.
Like being Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 80s.
Yeah. It's just taken as self-evident. No one can stop him. It's really something else. The issues this movie has are pretty clear when you watch it. Mainly, it's an action in the golden age of action blockbusters that just looks and feels awful. However, I will say something that stood out to be a better choice in the original versus the remake was in how hostile the world feels, and cartoonishly so, but how all that hostility gets wrapped up into a single villain, and that being Richard Dawson. Richard Dawson as our sole villain here is, I feel like, a minor to major misstep that the remake decides to kind of split up and for a worse choice. This single choice makes a much tighter movie for this reason. You're not splitting the conflict. You're not splitting basically the revenge thriller structure to this. And pretty much it can single-handedly explain the runtime difference between the two films this week, which I think is pretty important to note.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about, nearly 40 minutes.
A lot, yeah.
So
not 40 minutes, but a lot.
I'm rounding. Among a movie that I still think is pretty goddamn horrible, though, we do get a gem in this performance of Dawson leaning naturally into his game show charisma. He spent a lifetime refining. I mean, if you've ever seen clips of classic Family Feud, you've seen how he's able to just like effortlessly charm any crowd he's in front of. Not only is that transferred perfectly into this role and made into a villainous role, which is so great, I think it was a story beat that I just wish could have made it over to the remake as well. I don't know if we're cutting Josh Brolin or I don't know if we're cutting Colin Domingo, but the character needs to be one. You know who?
I was cutting... if it was like 2002 and the movie was made, or even like 2005, Chuck Woolery from Lingo.
Wow.
Well, because
because we're gonna get another game show.
Because it's only like, you know what I mean. It's one step away from reality almost. We just who are the go-to?
Who's the early 2000? I mean,
2001 Regis.
Sure. I mean, Steve Harvey would be the move. I mean, imagine Steve
current
Harvey.
day. Okay, you're right.
In a villainous role like this.
So Steve Harvey could replace Coleman Domingo, or Josh Brolin,
and both.
Okay, I love that.
Ideally, both.
2001 though, I'm definitely saying not lingo guy. We'll go.
Wait, also, how the hell did you remember his name?
Chuck Woolery, come on. What was his go-to? He did that thing with his 2 fingers. He did the Love Game. I mean, he was the game show guy. Love Match or whatever. Then he ended up on lingo. He was like, we'll be right back to something.
Everything that happened on that date, we'll do it in 2 and 2. Be right back.
He used to have this move with his fingers. Like he had like a sign off.
Right.
A sign off. I don't know. Not motif.
A little gesture.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Boy, I gotta look that up. But regardless, the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire guy?
Regis Philbin.
Yeah, Regis would be great for like a just post 2011 Running Man.
Yeah. Absolutely. There is like an aspect here, just like you see Dawson, and it's like, man,
he has it.
Yeah,
the
he's
dude
so
has
evil,
it.
and it's just like you've never seen him like that before. It would be really satisfying for them to do that. I mean, Coleman Domingo does do a good job in like the role of game show host.
Yeah, as far as person doing their job, I think I like Coleman the most in this one.
Yes. But yeah, story-wise, though, it would just be so much tighter in the remake if we just centralize this. And I think there's a small sliver of praise on this original one for that reason. A little bit of a gem of a performance. But folks, tighter conflict in the story or not, this is still not a good movie and has really never been a good movie. Despite similar cyberpunk dystopias, matching lead actors, and even just a few years apart, this movie has always been in a head-to-head with 1990s Total Recall. When I think back to it, I feel like in kind of the history of Arnold Schwarzenegger, kind of sci-fi thrillers, the two in concept are not exactly identical, but very similar in how they are portrayed, how even Schwarzenegger is being casted in these roles, and straight up Total Recall shits on this movie. I mean, Total Recall is like a perfect film compared to Running Man. Both movies use in-world media, though, to give context to the dystopia in their story. But where I endlessly praise Paul Verhoeven very early on in the podcast with his trademark ability to do so, the Running Man's world feels just endlessly cheap. Ironically, I think it's a weak spot for both this and the new one because these fake commercials, the TV culture, all of it is just done so cheaply. And I feel like in being so cheap, it kind of fails the landing the satire that is at the core of this story. This story is trying to kind of be a satire of mindless TV culture. Extending to like the gladiatorial stuff, it's bread and circuses. It's feeding the masses something mindless so they don't pay attention to the real issues. All of this here, I feel like it fails sticking the landing of that satire because the satire itself isn't that good. It's cheap, feels loosely made, and that's a problem here. That's definitely a problem with the new one as well. Don't get it twisted, though. No doubt the Achilles heel to this original has to be the action itself. And once again, in the goddamn golden age of action. I mean, like in the golden age. Predator came out this year. 3 years we get Total Recall. 3 years before we had Terminator. It's just like, it's so crazy how bad the action is in this and not learning from...
RoboCop.
Yeah, not learning from its peers. What King describes in his book is adapted into this horrible American Gladiator wrestling-themed game show with just zero lethality. And, I mean, unique to this original one, I mean, it's just like, you get past the second half, and once we get into the Running Man, it becomes like 10 times worse. Like once we're in the Running Man, you think like, oh, that's the start of this movie. No, this movie just like is a downward slope in quality. Even as we're introduced to more and more Running Man contestants, the hunters that are introduced in this, which at least this movie does have a lot of fun in making like wrestling personas and themed, kind of hunters around certain things. All of them get worse as the movie goes on. Like they're progressively lamer as it goes on, and it's just such a shame. It's such a shame. Most of the time, these action sequences look like they belong in a Power Rangers episode. And like I said, even if you're hooked by that first half of the movie, I guarantee this shit will lose you by the end. We're going to go ahead and give The Running Man 1987. The old score was a 35. It remains a 35.
A 35. Oh, it's worse than I thought.
Yeah, it remains a 35.
A 35%. Okay. Yeah, kind of an electric idea, but just the landing. You got to stick the landing.
Yeah. And like I said, an inverse of what we have with the new one. The new one, I think action is by far the best thing it has going for it, both like in the premise of the action and how it's done and the lethality of it. Here, I mean, it's a cute idea making it like wrestling, American Gladiators themed, but like, man,
it doesn't hit.
It's bad. Yeah. It's still bad. I think also we have a weird case of like, we always talk about watching in modern day. I think this was bad back then. If I watched this in 87, coming out of Predator, knowing who Arnie was building up to be, I would say this was shit back then too.
I don't think it got a huge amount of praise and love at the time. There was just more overshadowing it.
Yeah.
I don't think it was hated though, but yeah, it wasn't, it's not one of the ones your initial go-to remembers.
Yeah.
For that decade and that
or his career,
that genre. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But okay, Vin. Well, with that, we'll jump to. Oh no, shit! So we're only doing these two. Okay, so with that, let's go into our producer segment because we do have a couple producers to thank for this episode. So first, we have our monthly donor in Joel Villanueva. And we always appreciate him coming in with his $3.93, Vin. So we appreciate that, Joel. Thank you so much. Again, anytime you want to write in a donation note, producer note, you go ahead and do that, and we'll read it in our producer. Thanks, Joel. So thank you very much. You are a co-executive producer for episode 213.
And that's a big help. I missed my first showing of Running Man and actually went to a second one. So that's making up for me spending.
That's why you bought two.
Oh, yeah, you
when
saw that.
When the email came through twice. Yeah. I was just like, oh, we must have bought an extra ticket next to his or something like that.
No, I missed the showing, and in actuality, I probably could have just seen it, but I was just like, no, I want to just from start to finish.
Do you remember what time the showing was?
It was, I want to say.
Here's the thing: how late would have you have been?
Oh no, truly nonsensical.
You were actually late.
It was like the first. No. I wasn't late at all. In actuality, I should have just powered through it.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to give the fair shot to Edgar Wright. Every frame of painting.
Right, but what you're saying is you would have not been late. You would have sat down in the preview.
It was literally the first scene where he's talking to the boss with the baby. Okay,
I got you. Yeah. And then we have Matt D writing in once again with a movie ticket for you. Yeah, well, he's got a lot on his mind. But Matt D, we appreciate you, man, giving you a movie ticket. So thank you for that movie ticket for this week, Matt. And then he did write in a producer note. So Matt D writes, he goes, I love the cilantro comparison. It has potential to be a website badge.
Oh, wow.
I've come across a lot of authors and filmmakers that are beloved, yet I just can't get into their style. So Matt has a list of Robert Eggers, Charlie Kaufman, David Lynch, Wes Anderson, Philip K. Dick, and Neil Gaiman.
Oh, wow. Yeah, interesting on the author side of that.
This surprises me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised he's not an Eggers guy, and I'm surprised he's not an Anderson guy.
Yeah.
Or Lynch. I kind of see him being a Lynch guy, too.
Well, interesting. Okay.
Because these are very different kind of guys, too. You know what I mean? It's not, it's not specific to one genre or something.
For sure.
Not genre, but you know what I mean?
No, absolutely. Or
style.
Yeah, exactly. They're not in one lane or anything like that. Yeah.
He goes, I feel like I'm supposed to like them, and I'm the one missing something. I guess we like what we like, and sometimes we can't explain why some stuff just tastes like soap. Yes, the cilantro comparison is spot on. I'm glad he agrees.
You get a lot of praise.
Okay.
Editor John was saying it was great, too.
Oh, good. Okay, good. It's just how it is. Matt also talks about Frankenstein here. So he goes, I liked Frankenstein more so as an interpretation of the novel and a contribution to Frankenstein lore. I found the themes to be solid food for thought. Though I agree, a lot of what Del Toro did simply doesn't work as a film. Just know what the framing in the novel was even more convoluted and crazy than the movie was.
That's what I've heard.
There's a reason this is the first attempt at a true adaptation. I think it's still a worthy watch if you like Del Toro or monster movies or past interpretations of Frankenstein or generally weird stuff. P.S. Don't you dare limit the comments, he says. No, we won't put a limit on you yet. Don't worry, Matt. You're good to go. So,
you have real estate. You are old money on the comment side.
So things I take from this, he agrees with me on the cilantro thing, which is huge.
Great.
Okay, anytime we agree, if Matt and I agree on something,
keeping a bullet
it's
list?
proven. No, I'm not. I'm just saying it must be proven fact and can't be disagreed with anyway.
Sure, I love it. Yeah.
Not that we disagree all that much these days, I think.
It's cemented.
And I almost feel like everybody kind of feels the same way about Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Now, you weren't the biggest fan at all. What did you give it? Was
54.
it above 50? Okay, it was above 50.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was just way hotter on the first half. But it's hard to outwardly hate. And it kind of seemed like Matt might have liked it a little bit more. But everybody, I talked to another producer, by the way, same deal. Not the biggest Frank. He was like, no, it's not the best.
Yeah. I think maybe I would have some more thoughts on what Del Toro did with adaptation if maybe we did a whole Frankenstein week. Like, we weren't doing a Del Toro week.
Right.
We were just covering all the different Frankensteins that were done. But, man,
And he said it's closest to the novel, too.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah, specifically in that storytelling device, though, or the framing, like he says, of just all flashbacks. Though, I mean, I said it plenty on the review. There's a degree there of just like, that's fine if that's the book. That's fine if you really want to adapt it 1-to-1.
can make a good novel.
But in execution, there has to be something different in a film.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And
I would say, I don't know, I've never read the novel, but maybe I would even say, like, that's like, I feel like that's unsatisfying.
Maybe it's a shit
novel. Mary Shelley, go back to the writing room.
47%. Matt, thank you so much, man, for coming in once again. Surprised by the Robert Eggers and David Lynch, I really have to say.
Definitely Eggers. And I would say Wes Anderson, a little bit of a surprise there.
Yeah, I'm surprised by Wes. Yeah, just because he's got that.
But I like that. I listen. I think that's a great way that we can connect with our producers.
Actually,
what's your cilantro list?
I think most people have that too.
Yeah.
Most people have at least one guy.
Sure.
He's just like, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
There's people out there that don't like The Godfather.
Yeah,
You know
absolutely.
what I mean? Actually, if anybody wants to donate in and tell us your cilantro list, absolutely.
Cilantro list.
What tastes like soap to you? Matt, thank you so much. Joel, thank you. You're a co-executive and executive producer of episode 213. If anybody out there wants to be an executive producer for next week's episode 214, head to thedailyratings.com. We are completely producer-supported here. We are entirely listener-supported. You're not going to hear or see any advertising on thedailyratings.com or on this podcast. And we're also not going to have paywalls or payment tier structures where you need to give us a certain amount of money to access our content or get extra content. Everything Vin and I do, we put it out there for everybody. And since everybody's on their own finances and everybody might be getting a different kind of value from what we're putting out there, that's why we're doing it this way, the value for value model. You can just head to thedailyratings.com, go to the donations tab, and everything there is laid out on that page. There's the big value for value button there. So you click that, and it's whatever amount of value, big or small. Whether $5 is a lot of money for you this week, or $500 is not a lot of money this week. Whatever you send in, we certainly appreciate it with everybody being on their own finances. And some people might be weekly listeners, and some people might stop in every other month or something like that. That's why we set it up the value for value way. And we can't tell you how much we appreciate all the listeners of you producers who help keep this thing going. I always say Vin and I run a tight ship here, but we do have upkeep, we do have costs, so every little bit goes a very, very long way. So Joel, we thank you for your $3.93. Matt, we thank you for your movie ticket. When you do donate in, when you become an actual producer of the Daily Ratings, remember to send in a producer note. This could be questions, comments, critiques, what your cilantro list is. And basically this is where we give you This is our producer thanks segments. We want to give you a shout out, bring you into the conversation, because that's what being a producer is all about. Again, you can find everything at thedailyratings.com. Head to the donations tab. Okay, Vin, let's run into the theaters for The Running Man. Edgar Wright's take on it. Like I said, as a boy, he wanted to adapt it. He loved the story. Finally gets a chance to, and it was a rushed project. It was like started this year, finished this year, came out this year. So, that's pretty rare these days. I don't know if that affects the overall outcome of the film. We did not see it together, but we definitely both head to the theaters to go see it. 2 hours and 13, rated R, Glenn Powell starring. You set up this Running Man. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's kind of the same thing, but different.
Yeah, in different and important ways.
Is,
I would say different in ways that matter.
And we'll take it back and forth.
Well, folks, Edgar Wright is truly one of my favorite all-time directors, but whose book of work is nowhere near closed yet. With 9 movies under his belt, I expect to have plenty of time to cover what I love so much about his trademarks of sharp editing and visual comedy. and hope that, more and more projects will be greenlit with him at the helm. But alongside projects like Heat 2 from Michael Mann and God knows what Ridley Scott will shit out next.
Stuff. It's on doc. He's coming out with the film next year.
Yeah. These project announcements from directors I love do not get me excited. In fact, they instill a palpable feeling of dread. My reaction to... No, dread.
Okay.
It's horror. My reaction to Heat 2 was really captured perfectly on the podcast. I mean, that was like my first time hearing it, and it was like... an actual yell of anguish.
I've got some hope for it. I'm just going to say. Now, you do know that there's a Heat 2 book, right?
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay, all right.
I don't care.
That's actually a very good argument.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. But seriously, if I get another announcement like this, where it's a director I love and just announcing something that clearly is like not going to be great, I just might jump off a bridge. Like if Villeneuve announces, I don't know, like Prisoners 2 or something like that, I'm going to lose it.
That's fair. Can I say?
Yeah.
This, when you first heard this, you were unexcited right away.
Yeah.
To me, there's something here that can work, and it's frustrating to me that it doesn't work.
I think specifically something can
this.
work in Edgar Wright having some tongue-in-cheek comedy. Like the satire aspect of this is what's very disappointing, is because Edgar Wright could have killed this. He's done little sketch works within his movies.
Yes.
He did the trailer on Grindhouse for Tarantino and whatnot that was like a fun spoof on other things. Like he has the ability to make this satire
That's
hit.
why when this got announced, I at least was somewhat excited.
Right.
Now, Wright is your boy.
Yeah.
I will say, he's not my boy. I really like him.
Right.
I mean, I watched Baby Driver again this weekend. And, boy, what a difference. But
yeah. What a
difference. Boy.
You want to talk about rhythm in editing? This movie has none of that.
Yeah.
None of that. But hear me out, because not only do these projects tarnish the filmography of directors I love, but it also forces me in the current role to criticize a work of art that I would probably otherwise just ignore entirely to save the image of someone I adore. But, oh boy, you know what I get to do today? I get to tear this movie to pieces. This shit was so disappointing, and on so many levels. But I specifically use the word disappointing mainly because I saw a much better movie somewhere in the edit between the trailers, the final cut, and even watching the original. I still feel that there's potential on this story. There's potential for maybe another Running Man remake.
Oh, God.
And it's through that editing that I knew Edgar Wright for that I thought he could live up to do what he does best. But unfortunately, I really was like, disappointment was the word with this one. The Running Man is once again a dystopian action thriller that shows a future where entertainment is used to manipulate the masses and game shows on state-provided TV or Freevee rule the day. And this time around, the story shows Ben Richards having a lot more on the line, with a family at home and a neck that sticks out for nearly everyone, bound to get chopped off. He lands on the radar of Dan Killian, a cutthroat game show producer always looking for fresh meat to feed into his ratings machine and keep the Running Man on top of the charts. No longer contained in an arena, the show's offer is simple. You get 30 days on the run with a line of credit and carte blanche, do whatever you want, but you have to survive a squad of hunters on your tail and every camera in the country pointed at you for a cash reward. Ben might not have a lot of advantages being forced into the game, but he does have plenty of anger to f*** up the whole establishment and wake up the masses to the truth. Like I said already, I think the original and the remake are oddly inverses of each other, and the biggest weakness of the 1987 version becomes definitely the biggest strength of this 2025 version. Mm-hmm. That switch up in the game show premise really helps a lot, and I would say is almost the only thing this movie has going for it. No longer is the threat a goofy wrestling persona that are as much of a joke on screen as they are off screen as you're laughing to them. Instead, Wright's Running Man amps up the action in multiple ways. For instance, the hunters are all military-grade assassins that will do anything for a kill. The kills are pretty brutal. This is not like slapstick,
Right.
There's one guy that in the original Running Man that he has like lightning powers that don't even work that good, and he sings opera. Like, it's just like, what? He has like a little go-kart that he goes around. None of that here. The hunters are vicious and like a proper action threat. The rules of the game are more complicated, to include a video diary that contestants have to risk exposing themselves over, which adds a lot of kind of micro-tension in the plot. And maybe most of all, while the runners aren't contained within a studio, the whole world is watching them through constant surveillance and, again, this cash reward to any civilian that reports them. Both equally dystopian. I would say the only stumble here when it comes to this amped-up conflict is separating the characters of Killian into two roles for the remake. We touched on this already. Josh Brolin and Coleman Domingo, they both provide fun, hammy villain performances.
Yeah.
I like them both here.
Yeah.
But plot-wise, story-wise, and just like the role of this character, they're splitting the baby.
It's weak.
It's exactly.
Just naturally weak. I honestly, I was a little bit disappointed with Josh Brolin, but I don't know if I could be disappointed with any actor. I think it's the writing and honestly just the setup that kind of fails.
Sure.
And because when you have Josh Brolin, you're right. They are splitting the baby.
Yeah.
You're right. I don't think one person could do any better or any worse, really.
Yeah.
Because it's just not enough of a character for either of them.
Yeah, and especially if this is going to, again, boil down to just a revenge thriller.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of heady concepts in here, the dystopian aspect, the media manipulation aspect. That's all window dressing to just a very simple revenge killer and someone having a vendetta. That is just weakened when it's Josh Brolin not being the face of the show, or Coleman Domingo not being the mastermind behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I would say, other than that, pretty much on every level, Wright understands how to amp this up, and I feel like definitely does connect the dots on him wanting to adapt this story for so long.
Yes, and that's the thing. I could understand why he likes this, why this fits in his mind so well. Why he could probably see it as a kid and coming up, but the execution wasn't there. And the thing is, the premise is there up until maybe the very end and where he takes it. I do think that this kind of falls off a cliff, ends up running off a cliff towards the end of it, personally.
Yeah, definitely that third act. Like that final chunk.
For the most of the movie, like even you're saying, he's got to do the video diaries, like things are fine.
Yeah.
When I look at it from 30,000 feet.
You're staying busy. It's not boring by any means,
No, but that being said, what he does with it is, I think, failing in a lot of aspects.
Yeah.
And even the thrilling aspect of it and the chase, the cat and mouse, does stumble, in my opinion.
Really?
It didn't have the pace that I was kind of going into excited for and expecting, especially then I go and watch Baby Driver, and it's like, this is pace.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I don't really have a lot of notes for that reason on action, because I looked at the action as like, I don't know, it's interwoven constantly, but I don't know. Did you have any thoughts?
It wasn't that grand. No, I wasn't impressed. I wasn't wowed by it. And I wanted to be. And I don't need huge explosions and things like that. I want Edgar Wright editing and quickness and pacing and his flow. The man has flow in his films. Again, watch Baby Driver, watch other things. I mean, he's just got it down. I just really thought he would just continue to make stuff that makes him so special.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think even this is given away in the trailer, folks, but like the Michael Cera inclusion, that I was hoping to have some visual cuts that were funny.
I was ready to go.
Mix it in with the action, but man, it was just like it was lacking any of that. It felt almost like a big studio film that I would say, if I didn't know this was a passion project for Wright, I would have said like, oh, this is studio meddling. He's just a gun for hire, because
I know, and that sucks.
It doesn't resemble so much of him.
Right, exactly.
But on a much worse note, I feel like it's nearly everything else. As the changes Wright makes for this adaptation just feel painfully wrong, even compared to the original, which was kind of dog shit. I mean, again, I'm not... I gave the original 35. I'm not praising it by any means, but it's just like... I feel like there are some very obvious things that are layered into that make that story a little bit more satisfying and a little tighter that are just not here. A perfect, if not the best example, is a late addition to the cast, which is Emilia Jones. no problem with Emilia Jones as an actress.
Fantastic in Task.
Yeah, you were even praising her.
She was so good in Task on HBO.
I didn't even realize she is the girl from Coda, the Deaf Family. Yeah, I had no idea.
Did she get the Oscar nom?
I think she
at
did. Least got a nom. I forget exactly all the wins that year. Emilia Jones's character, though, kind of perfectly is the perfect example. It encapsulates the problems of just like how the tension and how some of the concept of the Running Man story is layered.
That's how it's a mess.
Yeah. She has this character that basically has the same arc as the love interest in the original, but is crammed unsuccessfully as possible into the last third of the runtime. Like, talk about like really like it's not only it feels tight in the runtime, it also feels like just like a total wet fart, like just like a failed concept of like what this character is supposed to be.
Discombobulating as well. I mean, and that's how I overall feel about the main film as a whole. It's why is this so messy? It doesn't need to be this messy.
Yeah.
Why is it trying to juggle a little bit too much here when really let's stick to just the bare bones story?
Absolutely,
you got enough there.
It'd be tighter in runtime. You know, if anything, the messiness is worsened by the runtime. You know what I mean? It doesn't even use it strategically. Very, very, very tough. This character is supposed to be the audience's eyes, both the love interest from the original and this character that she plays. That it's the audience's eyes because we discover the media manipulation of the state firsthand. And guess what? This character will become, at some degree, radicalized along Ben Richards to strike back. I kid you not when I say this character was layered 10,000 times better into the original story than whatever we got here. That reveal, that it's the audience's eyes that comes to the same realization of like the point of the whole story, or at least like the subtext of the whole story. It's so, oh my God, it doesn't even feel earned even relatively here.
Yeah.
It's a real case, and I said this to you when we saw each other over this weekend, it's a real case of the Martian syndrome, where characters are being introduced in the very last act and therefore have like no meaning to me. You know what I mean? They have like no hit. They don't even have the chance to get up to bat. You know what I mean? There's nothing there.
You know what's funny, though, is when you say the Martian syndrome, I could come up with 3 other things that I can attach to that movie that I have issues with other movies on.
Ridley Scott.
Speaking of which, Project Hail Mary just got, not announced, but the trailer finally came out.
Yeah, I mean...
From the same writer.
Isn't that, why can't I think of it?
Ryan Gosling?
Yeah, he's a big sci-fi run. The Star Wars project and that.
So this Project Hail Mary, by the way, has been... It has been talked about since the beginning of this year, and then it was being shopped around, and when it was being test screened, audiences were freaking loving it.
Oh, okay.
So they're just trying to give it a better weekend for next year now.
Oh, interesting. And it's a Netflix project, correct?
Was it?
I vaguely remember it being related to a Netflix, like, you know...
I don't think Netflix
I forget what their
out.
Con is. I think Tudum or some shit like that.
Okay, that I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so...
I'm about to shit on Netflix, but I need to control myself.
But anyway, introduction of characters too late is too bad.
Yeah, right. And effortlessly done in the original, which wasn't even a good movie. So, while that's one of the last examples to come up in the film, the runtime is peppered with these slight altered decisions that make the story impossibly weaker, though. The movie wants to sell Glenn Powell as, quote-unquote, the angriest man, not a line I don't think that was in the original, maybe in the book, yet is just constantly feeding us the blandest empathy imaginable, from his wife and kids at home to joining the show just because he needs money. I think the worst thing to come from these decisions is the story spoils its own lethal premise in everyday citizens being a threat. You know, that original film, at least like every normal citizen was like a crazed lunatic, and it added a little chaos to this. I'd love to praise how chaotic the action feels here when anyone with a phone could drop a dime on you in a second, but that goes away real fast when every character we meet is just a secret rebel ally for Ben to befriend, and it is befriending. I feel like this was too friendly as a movie. You know, I wanted everyone him to he met in some way to screw him over in some way. You know what I mean? There needed to be some storytelling there of like the world around him is vicious, as is the TV. You know what I mean?
That can help with the pacing of it too. To keep him moving. Yeah.
Like, just in that elevator pitch of like, it's the Running Man, but you're let loose literally anywhere, and guess what? Everyone with a phone keeps you in check.
Yeah.
That's really something special there for action, for fueling action.
Premise is great.
Goes out the window. I feel like we come across like 2 instances where the phone is a factor and has just like nothing to say about it at all. What hurts me beyond anything else, though, was just how plain the editing felt here, especially for Edgar Wright. Very little visual comedy is attempted. And while it does get thrown into the mix with action sometimes, I just could not help thinking how bland the rhythm of scenes felt in this. I think more critically, the world building that Wright crafts is not much better than the 87 original as well. The alternate media that is shown throughout the film, again, feels cheap and low effort, shockingly lacking any of that charm we've seen in Wright's ability to spoof ideas in the past. This is not Paul Verhoeven. Paul Verhoeven, I don't even know if he's alive still. Dig him out of the grave. Get this man making fake commercials for other directors. That's your job for the rest of your
favorite
life.
Thing.
But seriously, like they spoof Kardashians, the commercial, like it's all like, wow, this feels cheap and not really like there's no care put into it. I look at Scott Pilgrim and it's just like, man, like how does he understand it so well and then not here? Everything from drones, AI doctored footage, cell phones, initially all present some edge in modern day, but so very little is done with it actually in the plot. And especially for modern day, around that AI piece. Overall, nothing remotely interesting is done with this dystopian world building. And this is a story of screen-obsessed realities that forces the characters to question how truth might be skewed and manipulated in the year 2025. And all we get to chew on in this world building is Glenn Powell needing some cash to get by. Get real. Horrible.
Yeah.
Dropped ball. Straight up, drop ball.
Yep.
Sorry. I feel like I'm losing Tom now.
No. I mean,
God knows I'm losing the audience.
You have me. It's just that from the get-go, you felt this way before it came out, and now here you are feeling this way, which is really funny.
No, well, not true.
It's realized, Selma. It's just realized felt.
It's the dread coming real.
Surface, yes.
The dread is real. But I mean, to that point, I did expect, again, just in something little, like the commercials, the alternate media, I thought Edgar Wright was going to kill that, even if it was wholly unrelated.
Right.
I thought that would be at least funny. None of it is funny, even.
Poor, I feel bad for you,
man.
Yeah,
I feel bad, too. You might call me crazy, though, for this comparison, but this really did feel somewhere close to the Wachowskis' Speed Racer movie. I know that's
Oh, you like that movie?
Yeah, that's enough. Listen. That needs a revised score.
Jack from Lost.
That needs a revised score. But both movies, they make big stylistic swings, leaning into intentional camp, but all swings that don't quite pay off. That's why I put these two movies together, where that's frustrating. I can't help but feel there's just a much better movie left on the editing room floor, or at least in my heart, I could feel Wright could have done so much better. But for now, this is really going to make Edgar Wright have one of the biggest variances in scores across any director we have on the site. We're going to go ahead and give The Running Man a 36.
Oh my! At 36%, you really disliked it that much.
I mean, granted, there is a very open wound because of how much I like this director.
Yeah.
But I seriously think, this was not elevating anything but action from the original. And if anything, took a step backwards from how crappy that original even was.
Okay, so I will say...
And how bland.
I honestly...
How painfully bland.
Yeah, bland. Yeah. I will say that... that to me seems like a harsh score, but I do know how I felt about the film too, yeah. And I walked out of there disappointed.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to touch on that probably bugged me the most out of everything's being a mess, whatever, honestly was kind of the writing and the dialogue. I think it's trying to do something difficult, which the movie is very self-aware. And you come across these movies like the original John Wick, the surprise of how goofy it's intentionally being sometimes. You know what I mean?
The intentional camp.
And the way this dialogue goes, or how Glenn Powell kind of flies off the wall all of a sudden, it isn't landing. And that can be very difficult to do, to be not kitschy, but from the get-go, like the opening scenes with Glenn Powell, whether with the boss or with his wife, with the kid, whatever, the dialogue is weird. And it feels weird. And it's like, oh, it's supposed to be, oh man, it's just not working.
Yeah.
And it's like that through a lot of the film. Because I was trying to think of, first of all, I really do like Glenn Powell. I like the guy, whatever. I don't really love him in this role.
Okay.
But the more I sat with it, I was like, I don't know
if he's the issue.
Right. I don't know who you could put in this role.
Yeah.
Between 25 and 45, I don't know who you could slap in there.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think the writing was there. Very unfortunately. Very unfortunately.
It's a struggle that the original has as well, because granted, we're kind of opened our eyes to the reality as it goes on, but Arnie originally is very unlikable in the beginning part of the movie.
Okay.
He's almost like, it's almost like a kind of a distasteful type of role for him, especially in his meteoric rise as like the heroic Uber
right,
man,
yeah.
you know?
But he could probably sell that more between Glenn Powell being a bit of a hothead.
He can sell the hothead aspect,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Because he could just like, they literally make him like rip things out of the ground, and like the screws are being stripped and whatnot. You know?
And with this, it's just like Glenn Powell, again, if you want to be kind of lighthearted and funny at times with the dialogue, or Glenn Powell just being Glenn Powell, I'm kind of fine with it, but it doesn't land the plane.
Yeah.
So...
Nice.
So, I don't know. With that, I mean, that was my biggest thing. It's just a bit of a mess. It's a bit blah. I think the trailer gives away too much, personally.
Oh, yes.
And by the end of it...
Especially points that would punch otherwise, you know?
And yes, and just, again, I think the worst part of the film is the last third of the film as well. And that's how we felt about Frankenstein. So by the end of it, it's not... You don't even get a treat. You don't even get a little ice cream cone at the end. You know, you're kind of left with nothing there.
I needed one after this.
So anyway, okay, so that's 36% for the Running Man. These are you were cheeky boy here, 36-35.
You know, and again, while I said there may be a third, like an actual potential third remake for the Running Man somewhere in that book, I think as well there's a disconnect with the story itself. I feel like, again, there's a source aspect to this story.
Right.
For one reason or another, it's not jiving with me.
Okay, well, that's what we have for this episode, Vin. Anything else to touch on? Anything for this week, next week, highlight?
Edgar Wright, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Listen,
Baby Driver is such a good movie.
Listen,
it's unreal.
I love all of his movies. I feel like there's a little bit of a dialogue out there online, at least, that as soon as he stopped working with Simon Pegg in the writing room,
that's interesting.
Some of this kind of didn't click.
Wow.
People point to Last Night in Soho in a similar way.
I have an issue with Simon Pegg's writing, actually.
Okay.
Which is funny. So if he is the nugget that kind of, I don't know,
or just like the magic of them kind of coming up together and especially writing the, you know, what they call I think it's the Cornetto trilogy, that's Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and At World's End. I look at, you know... I look at the opportunities some other podcasts have to actually interview directors, and I worry that something like this will haunt me. I will say it outright. I love you, Edgar Wright, and I know you can do better.
Well, he has a project already also on, what is it? It's called The Chain. So that's kind of in pre-production, very early pre-production, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's a crime mystery thriller. So we'll see how that kind of goes. But I think these guys are only 51. We're going to get some great projects still from Edgar Wright. That dude's going to be working for a while.
Absolutely.
And by the way, Project Hail Mary, it was Amazon NGM.
Oh,
so we'll get a good theatrical release.
Yep.
And I knew this, and I forgot about it. Cinematographer is Greg Fraser, my number one cinematographer right now.
Oh, okay.
There you go. That's we got that going for us.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, that's going for Project Hail Mary.
Okay, sorry, coughing this week here. Listen, do you have for next week too? We've got probably one of the biggest releases of all year because we have Wicked for Life coming out.
Yes, Wicked 2. No, For Good. I think.
Wicked. Yeah, it is. It's Wicked for Good.
For
yes.
Good, yeah.
I mean, Wicked 2, whatever.
Wicked for Life. That's like the bad girl version.
And one, and then one movie I'm actually legitimately excited for, which is Rental Family.
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser, kind of a small time kind of family comedy drama.
Yeah.
I believe is what it was being pitched as. But it was being referred to as like a Little Miss Sunshine type thing.
Yeah.
And a good performance from Brendan Fraser, which I love. And I got to tell you, I don't know if I'm going to watch it or not, but we're covering it. You're going to. Sisu 2
looks bananas.
It's getting praise.
Really?
It's the critical response of it coming out of it. Apparently is actually it's got some juice.
Very interesting. Yeah, we covered. I watched that first season like way randomly. Like
when it came out,
it did come. I believe it made it to an episode, but that was definitely
it did. Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of just like covering stuff just to like have content, in the early days. But I'm glad that it was enough of a cult hit to bring about a sequel. And the sequel, it looks bananas.
I'm telling you, it's getting some love.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's a bigger week than you would think next week. It's not just about the wickedness or whatever, but we are definitely going to cover that as well. As we know, Vin loved the first one. Loved it. Vin, thank you so much for watching these films this week, for stopping by this evening. Folks at home, we'll run it down one more time. We've got the OG, The Running Man, with a 35%, and the brand new The Running Man with a 36%. So, folks, thank you so much for stopping by week after week. It's always a blast hanging out with you. And as always, we'll have the new show come out for Tuesday morning, and we'll have Vincent Daly right back here next Thursday on the Daily Ratings Podcast. And hey, if you enjoyed the podcast, if you would, give us a good rating or get the word out and tell a friend about us. And just a reminder that the Daily Ratings is completely producer supported. We want to stay away from advertising, and we don't want to have any paywalls or tier structures or subscriptions. It's all just value for value. So, are you finding value in what we're doing here at the Daily Ratings? Then become a producer and donate whatever amount of value that is. Just go to the donations tab on thedailyratings.com, and while you're there, be sure to check out the massive amount of films that Vince has rated. So thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Daily Ratings Podcast.